All right, guys, don't forget, after you watch this video with Julien Laurens, please make sure you go back to check out this week's episode of Vibe with Five. It is a banger.
My top four, I said City, Liverpool, Spurs, and then I think it's going to be a shootout between your boys, Chelsea, Arsenal, Chelsea, and United.
Yeah. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's Joel Bay here back on Five, and I am joined with a very special guest, a good friend of mine, Mr. Julien Laurens, respected presenter and pundit on ESPN. You got to make sure you're following him on Twitter, on socials. It's all in the description, and of course ESPN. Now, there's a situation that's been bothering me, Julien, and to be honest with you, a lot of people. Barcelona. Where are they getting this money to still be purchasing players? Because we've got the Bernardo situation. As it's recorded right now, it's not fully confirmed that he's signed, but it looks as if they're on the brink of signing. So by the time you see this in a couple of hours, it could be confirmed. So either way, the information is going to be good and as current as possible. Julien, talk to us. How are they getting away with this?
You know, I think Julian Nagelsmann, when Lewandowski moved from Bayern to Barcelona, summed it well when he said they're the only club to have no money, and yet being able to spend all that money on Koundé and Lewandowski and Rafinha and all of that. I think the first thing that is very important, as a quick reminder, their ownership is very different to the ownership that we know here in England or in most of the countries, in the sense that Barcelona is owned by their fans. So you don't have a billionaire, for example, who owns the club, and if he wants to, he can put 50 million of his own money or 100 million or Roman Abramovich or a Glazer family or a Kroenke family. This is not the case. They're owned by the fans, which means they're very limited in terms of their revenue. The revenue can only come from ticket sales, shirt sales, sponsorship deals, all of that. So they need to find ways of finding money in a different way than maybe a big club where the owner just said, okay, here's another 100 million, which makes it more challenging at times. However, this is a different level in the sense that La Liga have their own financial fair play pretty much, where they really monitor your wage bill and how much money you spend and how much money you have and how much money is coming into your club. And right now, Barcelona just simply don't have enough revenue and money in to cover all the wage bill of all the players they have in their squad.
But I'm confused. They don't have the money, but yet they have the money. I just want to take a second here. There are players in Pablo Torre, Frankie Kessie, Christensen, Rafinha, Lewandowski, Koundé, and of course potentially Bernardo Silva. Players out: Coutinho, Jukla, Alves, Leglen. We can go on the list, right? You got the graphics, etc. But it shows that minus Bernardo Silva, Barcelona total spend to date is £140.8 million. And the money received is £24 million, meaning that Barcelona's net transfer balance is minus £116.8 million. Dude, like seriously. And their wage bill is crazy as well.
It is. The wage bill is the biggest problem here because the transfer fees, you spread usually the amount over the length of the contract signed by the player. So you can pay, you pay off Bayern Munich, for example, in a few installments. Usually that happens. You pay Leeds for Rafinha. Again, you might put a sum. You have paid a sum up front, and then you pay the remaining over a few years. So this is different. The wage bill is the big one because La Liga are very strict on the wage bill rules, in the sense that Barcelona have right now the highest wage bill in the world.
Wow.
More than City, more than PSG, more than United. Chelsea. United are second, which is over 500 million euros just to pay a year in wages for players in your squad. Some who will never play, for example, but €500 million just in wages, which is crazy when you think that the revenue would be around the 700 million, 800 million euros a year. So most of that goes straight into the player's pocket. And that's why they need to find more money from different areas to be able to pay those wages and for them to be able to register the new players with La Liga, because the wage bill has to, has to be covered, if you want, by the revenues of the club. So for that, because they don't have an owner that can put the money in, they find different ways. So one of them was to sell the TV rights ahead.
How much did they sell it for?
So it's for the next 25 years, I believe, and I think they got over 500 million.
Wow.
Yeah, so they got loans from banks as well, over 500 million from Goldman Sachs. They've got big debts.
And Spotify as well.
Spotify for the naming rights of the stadium and the training ground and the name of the shirt, the main sponsor for the kit. So they're trying to find money pretty much everywhere. Every possibility, every option is good. So they've got this Barca studio, which they create their own content and their own, kind of their own production company, which they've just sold 24.5% for 100 million euros. They are about to do the same again, which is the fourth lever that they have to raise money, to inject cash in the club to be able to cover the wages and register the players.
So it's all legit.
It's all legit. It's just that it's a very short-term solution, which they have to. Because let's think that the TV right money, to make it simple, just suddenly goes through the roof in Spain. Literally. They will only get 75% of what they own because they've sold 25% of that, when Real Madrid would get the whole 100%, when Atletico Madrid would get the whole 100%. They've already gave away 25% of those income to come. And so they could potentially lose a lot over Real Madrid or Atletico Madrid, but that's what they had to do. Otherwise, they would be in a worse situation right now.
Now, is it correct for me to think that it's a short-term solution? It's a huge gamble, but it's like, listen, we have to do this now and win a few La Ligas and then maybe a couple Champions League. And is that how they're planning to kind of like get their money back? Because once you become champions, you got more commercial deals, you got more. Because if they don't, then they're gonna go underneath already. Real Madrid, they've won already, but they'll go underneath Madrid. And underneath, who else is, maybe Atletico and
that you said it perfectly. Exactly. The difference with Leeds United, for example, when they went bust after Rio was there, for example, is that Leeds were like, okay, we're going to spend all that money and pay all those wages because we kind of anticipate that we're going to qualify for Champions League. Okay. But then they didn't do it, and then obviously they had too much to pay for the revenue that they had. Barcelona is so big, such a big club that, and that in La Liga, unless it's a catastrophe, they will finish top 4. They will qualify for next season's Champions League and all of that. So the money will always come in, but I think it's still a risk.
It's still risky because I'm not short-term Lewandowski, 42.5 million. He has to succeed because at his age, he has to succeed because Real Madrid right now, the confidence is flowing. You got Ancelotti as manager. They got a real young base of core players. The young core players are exceptionally good. But I'm not convinced with all their signings. They've still got the likes of Depay on their books. They've still got a few players that I think they can. Aubameyang, but he just got a new squad number. So it looks like
Depay is the one to go because that's the last option for them to raise money is obviously selling players. But
they're not getting a lot of money for it. So far, they've only got 24 million.
But the one that they can sell is Frankie de Jong, of course. But by now, I think if Frankie had wanted to leave and go to Manchester United, for example, he would have done it already. And I'm not even sure really that Barcelona are that keen on selling him. There's Memphis Depay, who has arrived a year ago as a free agent. So anything that you sell him for now is obviously, profit for you. So if you can sell him for 40 million, 45 million, you take that money.
They're not selling Depay for 45 million, mate.
Definitely not. No chance. Yeah. And the other one, which is the one that maybe I struggled the most with, is to give a new contract to players. So I say, hey, Joel, I like you. You already have a contract for 2-3 more years, but I'm going to give you another contract for 4 or 5 years, but you have to take a pay cut or you defer your wages. And I pay them later when I'm a bit richer and I've got more money. And I think Piqué will agree to it again, like he did before during the pandemic and since. Busquets, potentially as well, maybe. The likes of Sergio Roberto, maybe Jordi Alba again, which is okay. But now you're in a situation where they owed a lot of money to Frankie de Jong, for example. In debt. Who did that. Yeah. You're on debt with your own players, which is really, really strange.
Can you then explain this situation to us? I think that's really key. We hearing that they owe him 15.1 million pounds, which is roughly around 18 million euros. What is it? How did they come to this stage? And how are they going to pay him back? And what is the court situation with Frankie de Jong?
Yeah, so it's a very interesting one because I think that when Frankie de Jong signed for Barcelona, when he was at the height of his talent, that everybody wanted him, he had this incredible season with Ajax in the Champions League. I don't think he would ever have thought that he would be in this position 2 years on or 3 years on. But yeah, he's in this position where he's with a club with a long-term contract still, where I think he likes living in Barcelona. I think he's in one of the biggest clubs in the world. But they owe him a lot of money because he deferred his wages during the after the pandemic and the financial crisis, let's say, that Barcelona have had. So they were always going to repay him and pay that back, like the other players. I think they owe even more money to someone like Piqué, for example. But the problem is when you come to a situation where potentially you can move clubs, Frankie de Jong cannot leave Barcelona and say, okay, forget about the money you owe me.
That's 20 million. That's 15 million pounds.
It's crazy. So this is where I think it's all good to say to the players, okay, take a pay cut and we pay later, or defer your wages and we pay later. But maybe they didn't really think it's true, because when then you have the situation where potentially someone can leave and have a transfer, then you need to find those 15 million pounds to pay him straight away. You can't pay that saying like, listen, we're going to pay you £50 a week for the next 25 years. That it doesn't work like this.
So how are they getting away with having money to buy the new players, but yet you're not paying off your old players? That's bad business.
It's
you know, and if I'm seeing these players come in, you're flaunting these players. They're arriving in, you're doing all of this, but then you're telling me you don't have my money.
Yeah,
we're not going to have a good situation here.
But the thing I find the most amazing is that all those new players, when they have discussion with them and their agent or their families or whatever, surely all those people know the situation and know that they owe money to Frankie de Jong, that they haven't been able to register Sergio Aguero last season, for example, at the start of the season. And yet they all agree to go, which shows you in a way, and this is great for Barcelona, what an appealing club it is. You want to play
Big
for
brand.
them, even with the money issues and all of that. You still want to go there. Lewandowski could have gone to PSG, could have gone to Chelsea, I believe maybe to have gone to many other clubs. But yeah, it was only Barcelona for him, despite the fact that right now he cannot play at the weekend. Right now, Lewandowski cannot play at the weekend against Rayo Vallecano.
Wow.
He cannot be there. Nor can Rafinha or Koundé. Friendly matches, no problem. Competitive La Liga games, right now, you're not in the squad, you're not in the team, you can't be even at the stage. You can be at the stadium, but in the stands.
So when does that get fixed?
Between now and I think maybe Friday evening or maybe Saturday morning is the deadline to register your players.
And how do they do that? Because you still got this wage situation.
Yeah, so they're going to sell the 24.5% more of the Barca studio, which is going to bring, again, let's say around 100 million euros. And they hope that with that money, on top of what they've injected cash through the summer, La Liga will now say, let's have a look. Okay, no problem. Now you've got enough for maybe one player or two players to register. So they will have to go down through the list, because it's not just Kessie, Christensen, Lewandowski, Rafinha and Koundé. It's also Ousmane Dembele, who extended his contract. So he's almost like a new signing for La Liga. So right now he's not registered, although he's been at the club for 4 years. And same for Sergio Roberto, which is not so problematic because he's a squad player. But they might have to choose and tell Xavi, okay, we can only register 2 of those 6 players that we just mentioned. So pick 2. So you go, okay, Kessie, sorry, you stay at home. Christensen, sorry. Lewandowski, you're in. Dembele, I mean, this is mental. This is crazy. Or they might be able to, by Saturday, register, give the new contract to Piqué, for example, which will save a lot of money. Maybe sell the pie by then, although I'm very skeptical, which save a lot of money. And again, be able to register more than 2 or 3 players.
Man, this is absolutely crazy. It almost feels like those players might have to work extra hard because they're on trial, just to be registered.
You don't know if you're going to start the season. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. It's absolutely insane. When you look at the Frankie de Jong situation, you said, I can't remember if it was off air or on air, you said you're not sure that he actually wants to leave Barcelona. Yeah. Now, does that mean it? Obviously, Man United have turned their eyes on Rabiot, but I still feel like they're flirting a little bit with the Frankie de Jong idea. What's the situation? What's going to happen over there? Are they going to give him back his money on time? Is he going to have to wait? Will they owe him more money on top of the 80 million euros they currently owe him? What is happening?
I think he wants to play Champions League football to start with. And the problem for Manchester United from the beginning is that there's no Champions League football, which is a problem for Cristiano, I think for a lot of other players. That's why he's been offered to Chelsea, who Barcelona believe that they've got enough money to pay for Frankie de Jong. Plus, it's a more attractive club because there's Champions League. And because right now, let's be honest, they're in a better position and situation than United.
Course. Yeah.
But the fact is, he's happy in Barcelona. He likes it there. He likes the club. He knows there's competition with Gavi and with Pedri and with Busquets and all of that. But I think he likes Xavi, and I think we saw quite happy-ish Frankie de Jong at time so far in pre-season in the friendly matches that they played. So, and also there's this, which maybe if that money that they owed him wasn't there, I think it would be easier for him to say, okay, I understand you need some money. I can get a great challenge at Chelsea with Thomas Tuchel, for example, or whatever. I'm going to go there. And now I think that money is a huge block into him moving away from Barcelona, because it's so uncertain how they're going to pay that money, when, in which way, what structure. Again, and if you're Frankie de Jong, it's like, hang on a minute, this doesn't work for me. So I would rather stay here, sort all this out, and then move on later or sign a new contract or whatever.
If you're Frankie de Jong now, you've given us the examples and the options. What are you doing?
I'm staying.
You're staying?
I'm staying. Right now, I can understand why players, like you look at Martin Braithwaite, for example, who signed there from Leganes because they could not sign anyone. They were in a difficult position. He went to try to help them. He's not a great player. He's not an amazing player. He's not world class. But he's a good guy who went there, Barcelona, amazing, scored a few goals, did his best. Now he's booed by the crowd when his name is called out.
Yeah, but he has nothing to worry about. He makes so much money off the pitch.
True. But you think at some point, like, I don't want to give you, I'm not gifting you anything.
It's true.
And I think Frankie de Jong is the same.
Yeah. No, you know what? I think you're right, Julien. And for myself, I am not moving until you owe me my money.
Big time.
And they're even lucky that Frankie hasn't come out and spoken negatively about them, because he could have done that.
And others could have done exactly.
And others could have done the same, PK, etc. But, so I think I'm very thankful that you've been able to come here and explain this situation.
I try my best.
It's so complicated, but you've enlightened us with more knowledge. And I know that the last time you came on the channel, people absolutely loved it. So we want to make sure that you come back. But thank you so much for this. And
thank you for having me, man.
I just want to finally ask, will Bernardo Silva go there? If he does go there, if he has signed as we speak, will he go there and be the main man?
I don't see how this. And we're going to be quick on Bernardo. Amazing player.
Yeah.
Very versatile, can play in different positions.
Yeah.
If you look at Barcelona is going to play a 4-3-3 formation. If you look at the front three, there's too many players. Lewandowski, Aubameyang, Depay, Ansu Fati, Ferran Torres, Ousmane Dembele. This is mental. If you look in the three in midfield, Busquets, Gavi, Pedri, De Jong, where is he going to fit even? And if you play him, that means what? Less game time for Pedri, less game time for Gavi. Are you moving away from Busquets and the Busquets era? Maybe it's time where you play Frankie as a holding midfielder, and then either Gavi, Pedri, or Bernardo Silva there. I'm not sure. Even for him, I would be like, well...
At least he's getting game time at City. Exactly. He's now become the main man.
Exactly.
But do you think it's because last year he was annoyed with the fact that City tried to sell him?
I'm sure.
So now it's kind of like, you said it off here.
Yeah.
He's an indispensable player.
Completely.
But... You tried to fob me off last year, so why am I gonna, if I've got the opportunity to go and get a little bit more money, what would he be on at Barca? What 200 a week, or was it?
Something like that, I would think. But I think it hurt him that they wanted to sell him. I remember seeing him after the Tottenham Man City game last season, the opening game of the season when they lost 1-0.
Yeah.
And he stayed on the bench, didn't even come on, and he was really, really upset. And at that time, he felt like they're going to sell me. They don't want me here. And then this is how football goes fast, though. He became such a big part of what was a really good season for City. But maybe he still felt like, you know what, you tried to sell me and to let me go. Now I became such a big player. I had another really good season because the one before, to be honest, was not as good. Now, again, I'm not gifting you anything. I want my move now because my contract is running out soon. And Barcelona are here for me, and this is one of the biggest clubs in the world, and I want to play that. So maybe that's what he wants, and he will welcome the challenge of fighting for a place with the guys that we just mentioned, whether he plays up front or or in midfield. Maybe that's what he wants as well. Maybe he's had enough of Manchester and he wants Barcelona and the Spanish sun as well. I don't know. Paellas, it's closer to Portugal, maybe too. I just think that we can't underestimate, though, just to finish. Again, we said it a little bit earlier, but what big club Barcelona are and how attractive it is for many, many players.
Listen, we could go on and talk about, more stuff when it comes to the money and other deals and everything. But you know what? For today, I think that's enough. Thank you very much, Julien, for coming on and giving us this information. Guys, please make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to go follow Julien on all of his social media platforms, all of them. And of course, ESPN as well. Thank you very much. And we'll see you soon. Cheers.
Listen,
that guy.
This guy is one of the greatest of all time.
The thing
is, you got to allow him. You got to allow him to go out there and do
playing this game again.
Mate, hold on. Let's
defend Ronaldo.
You're one of them as well.
Defend Ronaldo.
You're one of them.
He's on the Ronaldo retainer.
You're one of them.
What the heck, bro?
You're one of them. I got to get rid of him.